Some stories, they're more than just stories. They're about justice, about setting the record straight for someone's real story was buried for way too long. And that's the kind of powerful, true story we're getting into right now. I saw this comment from a viewer, and it just hits the nail on the head. This isn't just about acting. It's about vindicating a hero. And that really gets to the core of it, right? We're not just watching a great performance. We're witnessing a kind of reckoning, a story that needed to be told. So to really get this, we have to go back to the beginning. Before he was a hero, who was this man, Doogie? Because, he didn't start out as some larger-than-life legend. Believe it or not, he was actually a deputy county head, a pretty practical guy. His whole goal? He was looking into mining, trying to figure out a way to help his community, to bring a little prosperity to his people. It wasn't about glory or anything like that. It was about making life better back home. But then, one of those totally ordinary days turned into the day that changed everything. He saw something that it shattered his world and set him on a completely different path. Okay, so picture this. He's out in this vast, quiet, snowy landscape, and then he sees it. Not just one or two, but a whole field of slaughtered Tibetan antelopes. It was just pure brutality. Bodies everywhere, their hides stripped off. These incredible animals just left there. The sheer waste of it, the violence, it must have been an absolutely gut-wrenching sight. And this image, wow. Blood frozen to ice, piercingly red. That's how it was described. Just think about that stark, awful image against the pure white snow. It was a stain on this pristine world. And yeah, that was the moment that changed everything. And what did he do? He didn't scream, he didn't yell. His hands were shaking, but he was just silent. And in that silence, standing there in that field of death, he made a decision, a vow. He was going to stay. He wasn't leaving. This place, these animals, he decided right then and there, they were his fight now. But, it's one thing to make a vow like that. It's a whole other thing to actually live it. And the price he paid, man, it was huge. It cost him pretty much everything. The reality of his new mission was, well, it was grim. His little patrol team was always broke. I mean, he had creditors showing up at his door, his own wife was scolding him, totally frustrated, and he just took it. He didn't complain. He just silently pawned his own grassland certificate to keep the whole thing going. And the cost wasn't just about money. It got dangerous, really dangerous. At one point, he's in a direct confrontation with a poacher, and suddenly, he's got a gun pointed right at him. And his reaction tells you everything you need to know about how this fight had changed him. What does he do? He bites off the poacher's finger. Just like that. No sound, no hesitation. It's brutal for sure, but it shows you he had become just as tough, just as wild as the land he was trying to protect. But all of that, the money, the danger, it pales in comparison to the emotional price he paid. This is the part of the story that really shows you the true weight of it all. So while he's out on patrol, in the middle of this no man's land, he gets news. The worst news any parent could ever get. His daughter had died. Out there, in the very wilderness he'd given his life to protect. And his reaction? Nothing. He didn't cry, no breakdown, he just held it all in. In front of his team, he showed absolutely nothing. Instead, he just went and sat in the snow all day, like a stone growing in the wild. Can you just imagine that? A grief so huge, so silent, it literally turns a man into part of the landscape. And then, after all that time, just one thing. A single tear ran down his cracked face. And that one tear, that quietest tear, it held everything. All the pain, all the loss, everything he couldn't say. It was his loudest scream. Now you'd think that's the end of the tragic story, right? A hero's sacrifice. But no, there was one last, incredibly cruel twist. After he died, his name wasn't just forgotten. It was dragged through the mud. This is just devastating. The rumor, the lie that people were told was that Doji was a deserter, that he ran off with the money. But the truth is, he was shot and killed while on his way back. He was murdered doing his job. And it took 17 years for the truth to come out. 17 years. His family had to live with that horrible lie for almost 2 decades. It was only when his wife finally found his remains, his gun, his name tag, and a bullet still in his skull that the truth finally had a voice. It's the story that gets to you. Even the actor who played him, Huge, felt it so deeply. When they were filming the death scene, he insisted that his body be positioned to face the mountains. He said Doji needed to see the place he gave his life to protect, one last time. Just a really powerful, respectful detail. So, in the end, justice did come. His name was cleared, the conservation area he fought for was actually created. But you have to think, only the mountains really know the full story. They're the only ones who saw his lonely footprints in the snow. They'll remember. And all of this really leaves you with one big question, doesn't it? Juji's story finally saw the light of day, but it makes you wonder, how many other stories like his are out there? How many silent heroes are still buried under the snow, just waiting for the truth to finally come out?